But would men sign a prenup? Would the men on here sign a prenup if a woman came to the table?
Yeah, hell yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Why not?
Just real quick, just
It's not a big deal.
it would be a 5 second conversation.
Listen, that's a quick way for you to find out what she's there for.
As
But
just
don't
honest.
do it right before the wedding. I mean, obviously, do
Right.
it months when you get on your knee. Go ahead and show that little legal document.
I think people need
Listen,
to
hold on.
be
We're not keeping it a
careful.
buck though, because some women will say, "Oh, you don't trust me.
There we go.
You
No.
don't trust me."
Say
So
no.
you hold on. Look,
That's why it goes back to the vetting process. You have to vet your person correctly in order to see what is their purpose, what is their intention, what is their vision, and how y'all supposed to move together, if y'all supposed to move together. But your vetting process doesn't have to be so simple or generic. It needs to be more in depth and have some courageous conversations. And I think that's the issue. A lot of people, like you said the other week, everybody thinks they communicate until it's time to communicate. So with that being said, you have a lot of people who don't know how to communicate, and so they don't have those courageous conversations. And so when it comes time to have an argument, everybody want to drop stuff, and then that's when you get the anger and the animosity, and then it gets an issue when it comes with the prenups and alimony and all that stuff, because all you have emotions. Prime example with that Dr. Dre, you know what I mean? They were all good for, wasn't it double digit years? How long were they married? Like they were married for a hot second, but then Shorty got mad and yeah, she wanted it all. Like
They were married for a long time. That wasn't like
Long
an
time.
overnight.
right.
but would men sign a prenup? Would the men on here sign a prenup if a woman came to the table?
yeah, hell yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Why not?
Just real quick, just
It
not a
would
big
be a
deal.
5 second conversation.
Listen, that's a quick way for you to find out what she's there for.
As
But
just
don't
honest.
do it right before the wedding. I mean, obviously, do
Right.
it months when you get on your knee. Go ahead and show that little legal document.
I think people need to
Listen,
be
hold on. We're not
very
keeping it a
careful.
buck though, because some women will say, "Oh, you don't trust me.
There we go.
You
No.
don't trust me."
Say
So
no.
you hold on. Look. So what's women will say, "Oh, well, if you don't trust me, then you're already going into it with the wrong intentions." I've heard that before. I've heard
What's
women
wrong
talk
with
about
taking
that.
precautions? It's called precautions.
That's not the norm. Just for the record, that's not the norm. Most
That's the
women,
same thing as like a woman trusting you to pull out, right? Like you don't trust me. 9 times out of 10, if she don't want to get pregnant, she's gonna be like, wrap it up, right? Or she's gonna have some form of protection, like birth control or whatever. So to me, that's the same thing. Like we want to ensure that this don't happen, right? So I think a prenup, I mean, as far as the women that I know that I've rolled with, none of them have an issue with signing a prenup. But I have been around women who are like kind of like what you said, thinking, man, that they are reluctant. Well, why would he ask me to sign a prenup? He must not think that we're gonna make it. My comeback is that you sign a prenup, it never comes into play anyway. So if you go in with the same mindset that it's gonna last forever, then the prenup doesn't even matter. It's a non-issue.
I agree.
See, I
but
think I
y'all know
would.
that's not the norm though.
well, we realize that we're not the norm.
But you're the man in a relationship. Control that. Say that we're gonna do a prenup.
And I
Okay.
guarantee you, if a woman really wants to be with you,
Right.
if you say, well, I will not get married unless we do this, she'll sign it. She will sign it.
If she loves you.
I was about to say love should prevail.
Yes.
Love
Right
should
reason.
prevail. It
So
should.
this the ideal world that y'all live in, man. It's
Exactly,
amazing.
bro.
But just honest, man.
No,
It's
we're
just not
just being
realistic.
honest.
And
If a
you know
woman
what?
loves you, she will sign the prenup. If
Sure.
that's what you're gonna, when it gets tricky when she's in it for the money too. She may love you, but the money does make a difference. Then she'll be like, that's not gonna work. Because I'm gonna tell you, I love a man, and if I'm all in, I don't care about no money. I'm just
But that's still a conversation. And I think that's what the men are saying. I could use the analogy of, like, let's say, for instance, that we married, right? And you get pregnant. And we go to the hospital and you have that baby. And then I say, well, baby, I just want to get get a blood test just to be sure that it's my baby. Right now, from a pragmatic perspective, that, for somebody that's on the outside looking in, they can say, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." You just want to be sure. But when you telling your wife that, or your woman, somebody that really loves you, somebody that feel like y'all have the same type of investment, that's not just gonna be a smooth. Oh, okay, baby, no, that's cool. Go ahead, get the test. That's all good. It ain't gonna be like that. Conversation is not gonna go like that. When you present that scenario to her, what you are presenting is, you don't trust me. At least that's how most of y'all are gonna process it. Right?
Well, let's
So
have that conversation in the beginning. If you're a man going into a relationship and no matter how faithful your woman is, you just want a blood test just for your own sanity, say that in the beginning. Don't spring it on me. I'm having contractions and I'm pushing your kid out. Now you like, hey baby, I want to get a DNA test just to be sure. I think timing is everything. So let's have the tough conversations in the beginning, but know what it is that you're expecting out of that relationship. If you want blood tests and all of that, say that in the beginning. That way nobody can be in their feelings about something later on when you spring it on them.
It's 100% my baby. 100% mine. You don't know if it's 100% yours. So I agree with
mama's baby, daddy's maybes. I mean,
yeah, I'm total opposite. Because to be honest, when I had my son, when we were in the hospital, he didn't even bring it up. But for that very reason, I was like, do you want a DNA test? It wasn't even an issue. But that was just me, because I would never, ever want that to ever come into question. If somebody got mad, like how you say sometimes women get angry and say certain things. So for me, I guess just back in the day that I already knew, a lot of men in general just deal with trust issues to begin with. And my husband at the time had already had a daughter. So I actually sprung it on him. And then he was looking at me crazy, like, well, why are you asking me that? And I was just like, I don't ever want it to be any questions about anything. Like, I was a new mom, and I just asked him while I was in the hospital. So I don't know if most women are like that or would have an issue with it. But for me personally, not at all. I never had an issue with that.
Most women gonna have an issue with that.
So let me, yeah, that's kind of okay. But let me just say this. How about what Tam says on the first date, second date, when you guys are just getting to know each other? So it can be like a generic thing, like, this is who I am. This is what I want in my wife, my future wife. It's already laid on the table. It's not like you're getting to know this chick. It's just a generic thing that is on what you want. And so when you do that,
if you want to entertain this person or not. No love lost, no feelings hurt. Oh, I'm not for you. You not for me. Okay, move it along. Like, why are people scared to have these conversations? I'm not.
Because it's a courageous conversation. And people don't like to have conversations that make them uncomfortable.
At some point, you got to have it. So why not have it early on in order to prevent it saying, well, you play with my feelings, you play with my emotions, and I can't believe you coming at me this way and blah, blah, blah. Like, we can avoid all that nag that men like to say women do. We can avoid that early on. Not to say that there's not going to be any tension or anything to nag about in a relationship in general. We are still women. However, it's the element of surprise that most women do not like.
Hey, Tam, I got a question for you. Do you got a unicorn in your backyard?
I do.
I can tell, because you living in a fairy tale world. All the shit you saying is something that I saw in a fucking cartoon.
No, like, this is me though, and maybe it just with wisdom, with age comes wisdom. I mean, I'm pretty sure when I was probably in my 20s, I didn't have this mindset, but it's a different time and age. Like, I know what I'm looking for and what I want. So when we dating, I'm dating with intention. I'm not dating just to be out here kicking it like, oh, I'm just passing the time with this person and that person. No. So why we can't have these tough conversations in the beginning?